we're going to suspend reality for just a moment. We're going to ignore things that are facts. We're going to ignore Donald Trump's 23 felony convictions. We're going to ignore his sexual assault conviction in the civil courts. Where the judge said it was rape. We are going to ignore the fact that Donald Trump said to grab her by the P-U-S-S-Y. We're going to ignore the fact that Donald Trump paid for sex with a porn star. We're gonna ignore all of that sexual misconduct that we know existed. We're gonna ignore the 23,000 times Donald Trump is mentioned in the Epstein files, and we're gonna ignore the 4,600 times that allegations were presented to investigative units while Donald Trump was president. By the way, while Donald Trump was president, where they said there was no cause for investigation. We're gonna ignore all of that. And we're going to talk about Epstein's Island for a second. Epstein's Island is in the United States. It is an outlying territory area. It is not like a territory like the U.S. Virgin Islands or whatever, but it is a protectorate of the United States. So the laws governing child abuse on Epstein Island are the same as the laws that govern child abuse in the rest of the United States. In the United States, if you witness child abuse, it is your duty to report it. And if you don't, you can be charged with a crime, a misdemeanor, but a crime. All the times that Donald Trump was there and didn't report crimes, and all the times in the Epstein files that have been released now where Trump was in the presence of crimes that happened at the Mar-a-Lago and Florida areas, or the Epstein's Island, or the New York mansions, or whatever, every time that he was present in one of those places and didn't report it, that's a crime. It's his obligation to report that. Now, if there was a conspiracy, like the evidence that's in the Epstein files where they talk about not talking about stuff, right? That's a conspiracy. When you say, let's not talk about what's happening with other people, that's a conspiracy. So if there was a conspiracy to conceal child abuse, that's a felony. And there's enough evidence in the Epstein files to say that, you know what? Trump would have been involved in a conspiracy to not report child abuse. We now have political people coming out and they're saying that it's not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. And you know what? It's not. Just like it's not a crime to party with my dog. It's not a crime to party with the people who are walking by me here in New York. It's not a crime to do that. But it's a crime to fail to report child abuse. Evidence. And like I said, if you were involved in a conspiracy to conceal that, it's an even bigger crime. And there's enough evidence in the Epstein files that just those two things against President Trump need to be reviewed, maybe prosecuted.